Well, hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In this video, we're going to talk a little bit about moving for success, because I've had so many people ask me over the years, Deidre, how do you make it seem so easy to just up and move and pack your things and be on your way? Oh, I wish I could do that too. Well, you can, and if that's you too, and then this video is for you, stick around, you don't want to miss it. So I decided I'd give you guys a little story time today. Give you a little of my background so you can understand how and why I have moved around and the things that I've done. And maybe it'll give you a little push if you are one of those people who really would like to make a move but are a little bit afraid to do so. I was born in Chicago, Illinois, but I spent the majority of my life, I was raised in a small town inside of Mississippi. Yes, I'm from the crooked letter state. So being that I was from a small town in Mississippi, everywhere we went, if we wanted to go to a major grocery store, it was 20 miles out. The mall, 20, 30 miles out. Everything was 20, 30 miles out. If you had a job and you was going to work, it was pretty much the same, unless you found or got lucky in one of the little locations that were in your town or within the little small surrounding areas were actually hiring. If they were hiring, then maybe you get lucky and you can get in on one of those spots. But if you are familiar with small town living, then you know, just like I know, that there will be a lot of different locations, well, not a lot, maybe a few, a handful, that actually do pay better than the majority of the jobs around, but they're never hiring. And why is that? Because they have the older heads that are there, and I'm very familiar with that. They have the jobs on lock. These jobs are locked down. They're not moving, they're not quitting, they're not retiring, and the company themselves, they're not going to fire them, they're not going to let them go by any means necessary. Why? Because they're loyal workers. So if you go and they allow you to apply for a job, then what happens? They put you on a list. So now you're on this waiting list. This list gonna be, there's no telling how long this list gonna last. You ain't getting in there. You see what I'm saying? There have been very few who've been lucky enough to get inside of these types of jobs. So I've always managed to make a decent little taste of living, southern living. I couldn't have made it with that pay if I moved to a metropolitan area. So I decided that I wanted to transfer on my job to get out of there and move my kids to a more diversified area. Let me get you out of here. You guys need to understand that it's not just black and white. There are a whole different array of people coming from all different walks of life, all different races, and you guys need to understand now while you're young, so that when you get older, you'll be able to maneuver around in this world and not feel lost or feel like something's wrong with you. And it happens that way when you're just raised and spent the majority of all of your life around one or two particular types of people. So I said, let me diversify my kids too. And plus, it would give me into an area where I would actually be able to have different and better opportunities. So the way out was through a transfer. So I signed up for it and I got approved for it. And me and my family, we moved to Florida. So we're in Tampa, Florida, a little town called Riverview. That's where we moved to. I put my house up for rent. I got a U-Haul. We put our cars on the little racks, and we drove from the little small town in Mississippi to Tampa, Florida. And that's where we lived for a little while. Now, after Tampa, Florida, we moved from there to Houston, Texas. That was on another transfer too, but not from me, from my spouse. And we moved to Houston, Texas. So that was the next stop. My kids, they were a little bit, but once they got there, and children, they meet friends so quickly. And my house was always a home that had all of the children that would come in, spend all of their time at my house. I could turn the corner and go in the kitchen, and I don't know what array of Kool-Aid I'm going to see stand up in the middle of my kitchen floor. I'm like, okay, who are you and who are you here to see? And who told you can go in the refrigerator? See, that's what I had to deal with in my house. So anyway, we moved there, and of course, it was even more opportunity. I never at one moment did it ever cross me, you know what, Dietrich, maybe you should go back. No, no, no. Because life changed so much for the better. If I decided that I wanted to try a different array of things, I could do that. You get what I'm saying? If sometimes you just can't do what you want, you can't prosper, you can't make moves, things can't get better for you, and you feel stuck, and you feel so overwhelmed, and you're full of anxiousness, and your anxiety is through the roof, and you're suffering from all types of depressions, and all these different things are going on, and you have no idea what the problem is, and the whole time it's because your surrounding and your environment needs to change. Sometimes we just have to decide that we're going to do these things, and we have to do them. And I know that some of you are probably thinking, that sounds good, and I wish that I could, but you know what? It's easier said than done. And you know what? In some instances, that may be true, but to me, I would have to disagree to a certain extent. Let me explain how I got to LA. Before I came to LA, my son came to LA because he was discovered, and some big people moved him here. So I said, when you come to LA, if you move here and it looks like you are going to be doing what you should be doing, and you're not up here, pussyfooting around like how young folks do, and you can prove to me that you got it on and pop and you ain't up here playing, then and only then will I move. I will pack my things up and I will move, because you know what? To move has never been nothing but a thing to me, because your home is where your heart is, and it's just that. I have never been a believer in living, being born, and growing up, and living and dying in the same spot. No, I am not my ancestors. I want to be happy, and I want to move around, and I want to live my life. So I moved to LA. I packed my things, and I came to LA. When my son came to LA, because he didn't want me to worry, he said he had more than he had. But when he got here, he did what he had to do. He never said it. Of course I was there to help him, but he never said that what he went through when he got here. He just made that move, and he knew I was going to stop him if I knew he didn't have what he needed. But he made that move, and let me tell you something. It's the best thing he could have ever done. He made that jump, and he did it, and he stayed, and he's here now, and he lives a very nice life, and he would not have if he let fear stop him from coming. When I got here to LA, I came with a substantial amount of savings. And instead of finding me something to do at that moment, I played around. And because I played around, I found myself in a situation. I had an opportunity at that moment. When I found myself in that situation, I had an opportunity at that moment. Whether am I going to stay, or am I going to bust a U-turn and go back? Stay or go back to Texas. Stay or go back to Texas. Because at that moment, I still had a chance to slip back off in there. I had a chance because I was paid up. So I could have slipped back and there'd have been none the wiser. Should I go back? Should I stay? But since I'm not one of believing of busting a U-turn and going back from where I come from, and if I mess something up, I need to fix it, then I figured out a way to do it, and I did it. Opportunities, of course, here, they like flowing from the trees. Of course they are. You just have to decide which ones you want, and if you're going to reach out and grab it, or if you go by the wayside. If I still lived in the small town where I was raised, I would still be in the same situation that I was in, because these small towns, they don't change. And you guys know they don't change. Sometimes we just have to make up our minds that we want to have a better life for ourselves and for our family, and we have to make those choices, and we have to move. We have to pack our things up, and we have to move. You have to come up with a plan, come up with a budget, come up with something, and figure it out. And when you figure it out, roll out. I just thought I'd throw that out there, because I have a lot of people asking me, how do you do this? And how do you make it just seem so easy to be able to just move around? It is easy. Fill your tank up, pack your stuff up, and go. It is easy. It's easy. Find a place to stay before you move, and go. They have so many different ways that you can move and actually change your life for the better. So it's up to you what you want to do, but we can't always just stay firm and stay put and then always figure out a way to complain. Like, we can't be sitting still and be complaining. You know what? Well, if I could, I would have, but things just ain't working out that way right here. It ain't like that. It ain't like that here. Okay, well, it ain't like that here. Then what you need to do, you need to move. And that's just it. Move. Make life better for you. You guys, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, turn on that notification bell, because your girl gonna come with something later. Thank you for listening at me rant. Have a good day.